What more could you possibly want from Volkanovski? I am beyond impressed with this guy. Truly, I am beyond impressed. And I have a role. I have a role to do, which is simply to make sure that I bring to the masses the Volkanovski story accurately, which is already being mistold. In all fairness, it is. You go look at Volkanovski's last fight with Max. He never should have been in there. He never should have accepted that fight. Max Holloway, without a doubt or an argument, absolutely proven fact through competition, was Volkanovski's biggest threat. Max was also younger. Max also had more to gain, and Volk took the fight on short notice. I think you guys forget that. I've never seen that in a headline. I feel as though you forgot that, possibly never knew. Right, the fights come at you and you read the names and sometimes you don't know what's going on. That was put on International Fight Week, where Diaz and Chimaev was slated in for that spot, the co-main event. When Diaz and Chimaev did not come to fruition, there was even talk of Conor McGregor versus Diaz. I remember there was a couple of things that were looked at when that didn't come to fruition. An afterthought was, let's go grab a big world title fight. Let's grab these guys. Oh, by the way, Volk had just gotten out of the ring with the zombie. Now he's going in against his biggest nemesis. The one and only guy that could even captivate your imagination that can beat him. A guy in Max who I thought did beat him. In all fairness, when they did their rematch on Fight Island, I thought it was 3-2 Max. That's how I had it. Volk's not only beat the guy, Volk beat the guy twice. He never had to do that third fight. He could have put his foot down. Now let that go. That's not within Volk's makeup, but he could have. Now let that go. Not only does he agree to the opportunity, he takes it on short notice and puts the strap up. That is awesome. He then goes out against the younger fighter and he beats him not only worse, meaningfully worse. It was an absolute surprise, and it reversed a lot of things that we know about the sport. If a younger fighter beats an older fighter in the rematch, the younger fighter will beat him a gun only easier. If a younger fighter knocks out an older fighter and they rematch, the younger fighter will knock him out again only quicker. Go back over history, take that lesson I just gave you, and find an example where it didn't happen. This is not a good idea for Volk. He did it and arguably put on his absolute best performance. I feel just right there that history's already gotten away and we're not giving him his due. Well, some people did pay attention. And in the rankings committee, they moved him to GOAT. Now, GOAT stands for greatest of all time. We mean for it pound for pound right now. But to do that, that moved Volk in front of Usman. Generally speaking, when you have your order picked for the pound for pound, if a guy doesn't lose, no matter how good a guy below him looked, he cannot leapfrog him. Generally speaking, Volk looked so good and had such appreciation. With Kamaru Usman not losing, they moved him in front. I mean, this is massive. That is looked at by your peers. There's compliments you get from your family, from your coaches, from your team, from your supporters, from your base. To be recognized by your peers as the best. It's a very different compliment. Now Volk is going to go and be a backup fighter in Fight Island. Now, this came out, it kind of yin and yang just a little bit. I'm assuming that you're up to speed because Benny DeRouche thought he was going to be the fill-in fighter. Benny even went to the media and said, I think maybe Volk is playing games. Volk came out, he clarified it. He said, I'm not playing games. I'm on weight, I'm licensed, I'm flying out there. My corner's flying in, I'm getting paid to get on the scale. I hope that I get in the ring. What more could you want? What more bravery could possibly be shown? This isn't a joke. This is a bluff that might get called. And if it gets called, it is likely going to be within 24 hours of showtime. If this bluff gets called, it most likely is going to be because somebody failed on the scale, which is Friday. The fight's on Saturday. Two extremely opposing styles at a weight class he has never gone in. Completely undefeated, sitting world champion, current pound-for-pound #1. He will put it all on the line against one of two men, and you don't have to give him camp. You don't have to give him preparation. You don't have to give him a negotiation. Just put him in. What more do you want? We don't have guys like this. We have guys that pretend to be like this. This sport is full of fake tough guys more than any other sport that I know. LeBron James and Tom Brady will step on the field or the court every single week, and they don't need to know who's stepping out there against them. They don't need to know who their line is, who their center is, who their guard is. They don't need to know any of these things. They are going to step out there and they are going to play, and they're going to live with the result. But we can't get that in MMA. We have a few guys that even pretend. Most guys are comfortable because you fans have let them off the hook. You fans have let guys get away with, I'm not going to go out and do it. I don't know where that came from. That's not the way it used to be. But that's the way it is now. Oh, his rib hurt. Oh, his shoulder hurt. I mean, whatever it is, you eat it up and you let him slide. But now we have a guy who's really doing it. This isn't a joke. He might get put in. And what do you do in that situation? I mean, that's a tough one too. Volk came out and he made a statement. He said, if one of these guys misses weight, we must preserve the idea that the world championship is on the line, and that's where I would go in. Is he right? Is he right? Because what if you didn't? What if this is what we've all been told, but Dana looks at it and he goes, you know what? I got to give my audience as close to what I told my audience as I would give them. Charles has missed weight by a pound. This won't be for the world title, but I can still put Charles and Islam in there. Can't do the title thing, but I can keep my card intact. I can have them fight, and I'm probably never going to book this fight again. This is probably it. Tomorrow night, and we're all here, and then I can put Volk, who's done what he did, against the winner. I can make everything happen. Dana's going to have to look at that. I don't know what he would want to preserve more. I suppose what happens at the scale. Why was the miss? How bad was the miss? I think these things will all be played in. What happens the week of? How does the press go? How does the media? Having Volk versus Islam is amazing. Having Volk versus Oliveira is amazing. Having Islam versus Charles is pretty damn good, and that's what we've all been looking forward to, particularly when Volk's sitting here and can just go take on the winner. But if Volk was to go take on the winner, whoever missed weight, whoever the skunk at the garden party was, isn't likely to get back on track, and then you remake that fight. Dana might be confronted with an opportunity of, if I want to get this round robin, and this is the way I want to do business, I got to just put these boys in here. To hell with the belt. I feel as though Dana was confronted with something like that, kind of similar at Charles's last fight. He goes to Arizona. He promised the crowd it's going to be Gaethje versus Oliveira. He could have moved it. He could have shuffled the deck. He could have pushed Oliveira to the side. He put Gaethje against somebody else. He could have moved his co-main to his main event, which a lot of people were predicting he was going to do. Or Dana could look at it and go, no, I have a problem. Who the champion is my problem. But I told my audience I'm going to bring them this card. I have the pieces. The commission will sanction it. I'm going to bring the audience as close to what I promised to deliver. I mean, in all fairness, you're going to have to look at the situation in that moment. I am not fully convinced if one guy misses weight that Volk goes in. I'm not fully convinced of that. I know that's the plan. But it's a really interesting spot. And I don't even know which one I'm cheering for. Like, the idea of getting Volk against Islam, I mean, that is so wildly fascinating. People are saying that Islam will kick Volk's ass. Go ahead. Go ahead and kick Volk's ass. You'll be showing me something I've never seen. I've never seen anybody beat up Volkanovski. And how's he going to do it? He's going to outstrike him. I've never seen anybody outstrike Volkanovski. Is he going to take Volk down? I never seen anybody hold Volk down. I need somebody ground and pound it past Volk and start putting Volk in submissions. I've never seen any one of those things. So you're telling me that Islam can do it? You've got my money, you've got my time, and you have my interest. I would then like to know how we have a guy ranked pound for pound in front of another guy that's not even on the list and can't compete with him? I'd like to know all of these. Let's just get it all sorted out. And the odds makers they have it just that way. They have Islam as a heavy favorite over Volk. However, they have Volk and Charles very close, and a couple of books even put Volk as the favorite. That's interesting. It's really interesting. And if Volk does go and do this, how do we tell him after the fact, you're not the number one contender and you don't get to compete in this weight class? I mean, now we're being rude. Yes, Volk, you get to be the number one contender, and yes, Volk, you get to fight at this weight class if I need you. If it all works out for me, I'll give you the opportunity. Man, they don't work that way. Nobody's going to tell Volk no. Nobody's booking Volk versus Emmett or Yair. Those guys aren't even calling for the fight. I mean, I feel like, there's going to have to be a decision to be made here. That's going to be made by Volkanovski, I believe. When 280 is done, whether he participates or not, does he wait? Does he go and compete with the winner? Or does he go back down? And now you start to figure out whether it's going to be Emmett or Rodriguez. Neither of which have done anything to build a fight with Volk. And I mean nothing. Zero. They haven't even tried to step in front of one another. Like, Yair's not saying, I should get it over Emmett. And Emmett's saying, well, I should get it over Yair. Like, they've done nothing to build a fight. So if I was to predict for you, or at least if it's what Volk wants to do, I think he's the number one contender. I do think that's what it means. I think whoever wins this fight would be very wise to call Volk out. Get this business going, get this show on the road, and let's find out who the absolute best is. It's an interesting spot. But I'm not going to go as far as to tell you, while Volk is going to be there, while Volk is going to weigh in, I'm not going to go as far as to tell you if somebody misses weight, we're guaranteed Volk steps in. I don't know that I buy that. And I think it will have a lot to do with the specific situation. Who it is, why did they miss, how much did they miss by? I think all of those things are going to be considered before we put the backup in. 280 is around the corner. We're going to get our answer. We're going to get it very soon.